What if I told you that 20 years from now, you will look back at today and cry, not because of what happened, but because of what you ignored? Not the missed promotions, not the arguments left unresolved. No. You will cry because you refused to listen to the simplest voice, the one that begged you, day after day, to live well. And here's the impossible question. What if that voice has already been speaking to you? Through your child, through a balloon, through something you thought was silly? The other evening, Golu, my 5-year-old, came bouncing into the room with a red balloon. His cheeks were puffed from blowing it up, his hair sticking in chaotic little storms, and he was grinning as if he'd just created a planet. He held it high and declared, with the seriousness of an emperor, "Papa, if I let go, will the balloon go to the future?" I laughed, of course, but inside I froze. To him, the balloon wasn't latex and air, it was time itself, waiting to slip from his hand. Picture it, a tiny boy in dinosaur pajamas, clutching this fragile red globe like it's the universe. Outside, the evening was loud with crickets and scooter horns. Inside, his balloon squeaked faintly under his fingers. "The future," he whispered again, eyes wide. And suddenly, I saw him not as my son of 5 years, but as the old man he will become, frail and slower, perhaps with silver hair and quiet regrets. A balloon rising from the fist of a child, straight into the wrinkled hand of the man he will be. I thought, is this how the future speaks? Through toys, through play, through questions that sound silly but weigh like mountains? The truth is, we rarely listen. We bury that whisper with scrolling thumbs, with frantic schedules, with chasing things that won't matter in 5 years, let alone 50. Yet the future self, yours, mine, never stops begging. It tugs at us the way a child tugs at a parent's sleeve. But here's the tension. What happens if you never listen? What happens if one day you wake up and realize the balloon slipped from your hand years ago, and you never even noticed it drift away? The Stoics knew this ache. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You will meet it again and again, the same lesson. The span of life is short. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years." Imagine him sitting beside Golu, watching the balloon float. He'd smile, maybe even laugh, but he'd nod. He would say, "Yes, little one. Time drifts upward when we loosen our grip. What matters is not the balloon, but how you hold your breath before you let it go." Can I confess something? I sometimes scroll my phone while Golu is tugging my shirt. He'll say, "Papa, look," and I'll mutter, "Just a second." And maybe that second turns into minutes, sometimes hours. Later, guilt creeps in like a shadow, because deep down, I know what my old self will ask me. Why didn't you look? Why didn't you listen when he was right there, balloon in hand, begging for your eyes? That shame, it's not about parenting only. It's about life, about the ignored mornings, the half-finished dreams, the days when you tell yourself, tomorrow. Golu eventually did let go. The balloon bounced on the ceiling, and he laughed until he hiccuped. But I couldn't stop thinking, maybe the ceiling is where the future lies, just out of reach, always floating, waiting for us to look up. And that, my friend, is where our story truly begins. Because what Golu saw as play, the Stoics saw as practice. And if you're willing, in the next breath, we'll follow the balloon to Rome, to now and back to you. So let's follow that red balloon. In Golu's hand, it was play. In our hands, it becomes philosophy. The Stoics would remind us, the balloon isn't time itself, it's our illusion of control. We think we can hold it forever, clutching tight, commanding where it floats. But no matter how tightly you grip, air leaks, hands slip, life drifts. Epictetus said it plainly, you may control your mind, but not events. Do not demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them as they happen. The balloon squeaks when you squeeze it. It resists your command. So does life. The wiser move, Smile, breathe, and let it go when the time comes. Picture ancient Rome. A senator struts through marble halls, clutching ambition like Golu's balloon. He believes he can shape destiny, bend crowds, stretch his years. But the plague whispers otherwise. The balloon slips, and all his boasting scatters with it. Now picture modern life. A young professional scrolls through her calendar, colored blocks of meetings, projects, plans. She grips them tightly, convinced her success is certain if she just holds harder. But then, a diagnosis. A layoff. A heartbreak. The balloon drifts upward, out of reach, indifferent to her frantic hands. And here's where Golu, in his pajama wisdom, trumps both the senator and the professional. He never believed the balloon was his forever. To him, the joy wasn't in keeping it, it was in watching it rise. So try this with me. Close your eyes. Imagine you're holding a balloon, full, round, red. It represents your job, your health, your loved ones, your identity. Now imagine loosening your grip, just slightly. Feel the squeak, the pressure shift. Ask yourself, if this floated away tomorrow, what would remain of me? If your stomach twists, you're not alone. That twist is the very place Stoicism lives, not in denial, but in preparation. The Stoics didn't say don't care. They said care wisely. They taught us to hold the balloon lightly, play, enjoy, love, but never believe you own the sky it drifts into. But wait, you might protest. Isn't that detachment? Isn't Stoicism cold? Here's the secret. It's not detachment, it's deeper attachment. Seneca wrote, "We must love, but always with the thought that we may lose." Imagine hugging someone with such fierce awareness of their mortality that every embrace becomes holy. That's not detachment, that's love sharpened into diamond. When I watch Golu laugh at his balloon floating away, I don't see coldness. I see delight in transience. He doesn't mourn the loss, he celebrates the moment. And that's the balance Stoicism asks of us. Be present, not possessive. Now, humor me. Imagine Marcus Aurelius with a TikTok account. He sets up his camera, looks into the lens, and says, "Day one of reminding you it's your moral. Don't waste time. Like, share, subscribe." You'd laugh, maybe roll your eyes, but tell me you wouldn't listen. Because suddenly, the emperor's wisdom feels modern, silly even, but it lands. Stoicism doesn't have to live in dusty books. It can ride balloons. It can scroll TikTok. It can sneak into your kitchen as a child's question about the future. I remember one night when Golu was sick, feverish, cheeks flushed, tiny hand limp in mine. I prayed silently. Please just let him get better. In that moment, nothing else mattered. Not deadlines. Not arguments. Not the phone buzzing on the counter. The balloon was trembling in my hand, and I realized I cannot control where it floats. I can only love him fully, here now, while I have him. That's the Stoic insight lived, not written. It's in every parent's midnight fear, every lover's goodbye at an airport, every quiet moment when we know we're fragile but alive. And so, my friend, we circle back to the red balloon. It drifts, always out of reach, whispering, listen, hold lightly, love fiercely. The Stoics would urge us not to stop at theory, but to practice. To turn Golu's laughter into your morning drill. We'll anchor this whimsy into something you can do today, something playful, yes, but serious enough that your future self will sigh in relief and whisper, finally, you heard me. So here we are, still watching that red balloon. In part 1, it was a child's toy. In part 2, it became philosophy. And now, in part 3, it must become practice. Because what good is wisdom if it floats away like a balloon you never reached for? Let me distill it into one cinematic line. Your future self is begging you to listen, not tomorrow, but now. The balloon, the laughter, the silence of the night, They are all reminders that time does not wait. But you can choose, right here, how you hold the present. Here's a playful practice to try. Today, take a balloon, or if you don't have one, imagine one. Blow it up. Feel your lungs fill it, your chest tighten with effort. Then, write one thing on it that worries you, something you grip too tightly, a deadline, a grudge, a fear. And then, let it go. Let it slip from your fingers, squeaking and spinning through the air. Watch it wobble, unpredictable, ridiculous. Laugh if you must, because laughter is stoic too. And as it lands, remember, life is just like that. Uncertain, fleeting, uncontrollable. And yet, in letting go, you are free. Seneca would approve. Epictetus would nod. Marcus Aurelius might even smile. And Golu? He'd clap and giggle, reminding you that wisdom can wear the costume of silliness. Here's a twist. What if your future self could actually text you? Imagine your phone buzzes tomorrow morning. The notification reads, "From future you. Subject, please." What would it say? Stop wasting time scrolling? Call mom? Write that book? Play with Golu? Would you swipe it away like spam? Or would you shiver, realizing it's the same message whispered by every Stoic? Every balloon? Every bedtime story you've ignored? The truth is, you already are receiving those texts. Every pang of regret, every flash of joy, every tug of longing. Your body, your conscience, your child, they are the notifications. You only need to listen. I'll confess something. I used to imagine that wisdom would arrive with thunder, some grand revelation, some dramatic lightning bolt, but it never did. Instead, it arrived on an ordinary Tuesday evening in the form of Golu holding a red balloon. It wasn't thunder. It was a whisper. A silly question that pierced deeper than philosophy lectures ever could. That's the paradox. Wisdom often wears the mask of play. And if you're too busy, too proud, too distracted, you'll miss it. So listen. Listen when your child asks absurd questions. Listen when your body aches after too much neglect. Listen when silence at night feels heavy. Listen when the balloon squeaks in your hand. Your future self is in all of those voices begging you, don't waste me. If this spoke to you, share it with the friend who yells at traffic lights. Or better yet, subscribe, because next week, I'll let Golu teach us another lesson. You'd be surprised how much Stoicism hides in a 5-year-old's laughter. And if you take one thing from this entire story, let it be this. Your life is not infinite. But your awareness, if sharpened, can make every moment feel infinite in meaning. So hold the balloon lightly, love fiercely, and when the time comes, let go with joy. And remember, sometimes philosophy squeaks,